Jessica, and today I have my how to pack your makeup bag video when it comes to travel. There are tons of questions I get since you guys know that I travel all the time when it comes to what can you carry on, what kinds of makeup products do you need to put in your, little clear bag, and what ones can you just leave in a makeup bag, etc. But then also just tips on what kinds of makeup should you bring when you're traveling, whether you're flying or not. So this is chock full of tips, so let's go ahead and get started. My first tip is what to carry on and what to keep in your quart-sized bag for the TSA. So when you go through the checkpoint, you can have all your makeup in your makeup bag, but anything that is liquid or cream product, and I'll get into the specifics in a second, should be in a quart-sized Ziploc bag or just a bag about this size that's clear. I have one that's a harder plastic that I use for these products, and those work too. A lot of times you can go to the store and get ones that say TSA approved on them, or you can order them online. But as long as it's about the same size and you can see through it, it will usually work. So the liquid items that need to be in that separate quart-sized bag would be anything like liquid foundation, liquid concealer, liquid primer. And when I say liquid, I mean even if it's a creamy consistency that you squeeze out of a tube, that would still need to be in the quart-sized bag. Face creams, hand creams, any sort of lotion. So basically anything you can squirt out, whether it's liquid or cream. Now, what gets very confusing and was confusing for me at first were like cream blushes and cream foundations. Those are fine to stay in your regular makeup bag. You don't have to take those out. But anything that you can squeeze out of a tube is going to be something that they want in that separate bag. Lip glosses are usually kind of hit or miss. I always play it safe and put it in my quart-sized bag, but I think they would be okay. Lipsticks are fine to stay in your regular makeup bag. Eyeliners, mascaras can stay in your regular makeup bag, but just anything you can squeeze out or squirt out, you're going to want to put in that quart-sized bag. Another tip for flying with makeup would be anything that you have liquid that you could swap out for a non-liquid version, do it. It will save a ton of that precious space in that small bag. That gets even smaller when you're trying to put toothpaste in there and all those other things that aren't even necessarily makeup that also have to fit in that same bag. So for example, makeup remover, if you use a liquid one, which I do, when I'm traveling, I swap that out for little like makeup remover towelettes. La Fresh sells like big old value packs of separately wrapped ones if you're worried about them drying out. But also you can just get, the sets of makeup remover wipes for travel. It's perfect. The next tip is a lot of people will tell you to pack duos and things like that when it comes to blush and bronzer and highlighters. They'll say, oh, just bring a palette that's got all of it and you'll be good to go. But my recommendation will be that if you are going to bring that, only bring it because you love those products. If you're bringing a duo or a trio or a palette just to save space, but you don't necessarily really love the products that are in it, what's the point? So I would say only bring them if you love them. So for example, I've got this e.l.f. blush palette. It's amazing because it's got all these different options, but I like this, but they're not my favorite blushes. So it would be silly for me to bring these to have different options if I don't actually love wearing the products. Same goes for, I've got an e.l.f. duo. I love the e.l.f. duos, but when it comes to every day, I don't want to wear this every day, especially in the winter. These are too dark, so I'm not gonna bring it just to save space. It makes way more sense to pack a separate blush and bronzer that you absolutely love, because really, it's not really saving that much space to bring a duo or a palette in reality, and sometimes it's not saving any space at all. So just be thoughtful about that. That also goes for eyeshadow palettes. If you're bringing a palette so that you've got tons of options, but you don't necessarily love the palette or reach for it on an everyday basis anyway, then what's the point? You're not gonna feel comfortable using it when you're traveling if you're not used to using that every day anyway. So you would almost be better off bringing a bunch of singles that you use, or if you use a drugstore quad that you absolutely love and you use all the time, then bring that. That makes way more sense to me than to bring an entire palette. With it being the holidays right now, there are all kinds of all-in-one palettes that's got a blush, a bronzer, eyeshadow, lipstick, I mean, everything you could possibly need, and they're meant for travel. But again, if you don't love it or you don't usually use it anyway, there's no point in bringing that when you'd be better off and be happier bringing the products that you genuinely love, even though they're separate. Another tip, don't bring makeup or beauty products of any kind that you've never tried. I made this mistake once. We were traveling somewhere and I had brought I think it was the foundation. It had to have been. I brought a foundation I'd never tried before. And I think I'd maybe tried it 1 or 2 times and I'd just gotten it that week and I had liked the way it looked, so I'm like, I'm just gonna bring it. I had the worst breakout ever. And of course on vacation you're taking tons of pictures and I was so self-conscious the whole time, and in person I was self-conscious. I mean, it just it didn't ruin the trip, but it really put a damper and made me, I was constantly thinking about it, which I know sounds kind of self-absorbed, but if you like makeup and you're enough that you're watching videos about it, you know what I mean. And so please, for your own sake, don't bring products you've never tried or that you've only tried a few times, because you have no idea how they're gonna react to your face after more use, or how they will wear throughout the day. You know, sometimes you might love a blush, you swatch, you're like, oh, this is amazing, or it's a really expensive one, you figure it'll be great, but then it looks weird and splotchy halfway through the day, and you're not gonna go back to the hotel. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong, so just bring products that you already have tried a million times and that you know that you love, and that you know how they will wear throughout the day. One of my favorite tips that I kind of discovered on my own was to pack your makeup the day that you're leaving. And the reason I say that is when you get up in the morning and you're getting ready for the day and you're doing your makeup and you're maybe doing a full face of makeup, which I still do when I'm traveling. I know most people probably don't, but I like makeup. I just always do. So what I do is as I'm getting ready, I'll use the product and then I'll put it in my makeup bag, and I'll use more products and put them that way. It's foolproof. There's no way if I'm doing a full face of makeup and I'm putting everything I used in my makeup bag that I could possibly forget a step in my makeup routine. And I found that it really truly is foolproof. I've never gotten somewhere after packing that way and found like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot my blush or my blush brush or my concealer, etc. You've got everything you need because you used all those products to get ready that day. I love that tip, and I hope that you'll try it because you will be amazed. You'll have everything you need and it's great. Another tip is don't freak out if you did forget something, because we all, I mean, I feel like I've never traveled without forgetting something. And everywhere you're gonna go, unless you're going to like Alaska or somewhere like that, if you're going to Europe, if you're going to a different part in the US, etc., there's gonna be a store there where you can buy a lip gloss if you forgot a lip gloss, or if you're dying, you were like, I didn't want to pack this red lip and now I'm wanting a red lipstick, you can go to the store and buy one for $5 at a drugstore near wherever you're going. It's not like, you know, again, unless you're in a remote place, but if you're in a remote place, you're probably not as concerned about makeup anyway, so. Another tip, don't forget the simple little things, like something you might not use every day, tweezers, pencil sharpener, eye drops if you use them. I have to use eye drops all the time because my eyes are really, really red naturally. Chapstick, I always forget chapstick, but those little things that, like I said, you might not use every day, including the morning you're getting ready to leave. You might not use it that day, but don't forget to throw those in, because pencil sharpeners, you know, if you've got either like a lip liner or something like that you're gonna need to sharpen, it really stinks to be without that. Another tip that I always forget, bring a lip liner. Lip liners can transform everything. They look amazing under lip glosses and make them not look like they're kind of muddy, because that's my biggest thing. I like lip gloss, but I don't wear it often because I feel like they just meld into my skin and they make it look messy and muddy. But with the lip liner, it really helps to seal it in, but not only that, but make it look put together just that little bit more. But also when it comes to being under lipstick, which is of course the main purpose, it again seals that lipstick in, and I just feel like it really makes a difference in how long it wears, but also how it looks as it's wearing off. It looks so much better. You don't have to worry about it as much. And if you're traveling and planning on wearing lipstick, a lip liner does not take up much space, but it really helps with just every lip look you're gonna do. One of my favorites is MAC Dervish, just because I'm wearing it today under MAC Cream Cup. But it's great because it's an everyday color, and even if you are doing a bolder lip, it will work well enough to at least line the outside. So you've got it locked in, and I just love it. It is one of my favorite lip liners. My last tip is to invest in a brush cup. Sigma sells them. This one is from Crown Brush. I literally have no idea where this is from, but I bought it on HauteLook, I know. And it was only like $10, but it has a separate cup that goes on top to hold all your brushes in, and then it snaps to it with this little snap. And what's great is it keeps your brushes intact without having to worry about tons of little brush covers, because I used to travel that way, but it was such a nightmare. I don't know, it took way more time than what I wanted to invest in traveling with brushes. But I do travel with my brushes because it makes a difference in the way my makeup applies. So I love the brush cup for that purpose, that it keeps them safe and it's really easy. But when you are unpacking in the hotel room or wherever, you've got your brushes in a cup, so it makes makeup application easier and more convenient, especially if you're used to having it this way. Plus, you have that second cup that was the lid to use to hold toothbrushes, toothpaste, anything like that, and you can just set it on the counter, and then you and your family or significant other have that just sitting there as if you're at home. It just makes it a little more comfortable, and it's a really small investment. Like I said, this one was like $10 on HauteLook, and it's just made traveling so much easier when it comes to brushes and things like that. My biggest tip is, at the end of the day, ask yourself as you're packing your makeup, do I really need 4 lipsticks? Do I really need 2 eyeshadow palettes? I think we all can be really, we freak ourselves out and think, oh, but what if I need this? What if I need this? You'll survive. You'll be all right. I mean, and I talk about it now and it makes me laugh, but I know that when I'm packing my makeup here today or tomorrow and I'm figuring out what I'm bringing, I'll be doing the same thing in my head, but I need to stop myself and be real and say, I do not need this many different looks for a 3 or 4 day trip, or, you know, things like that. So just be real with yourself, be realistic. You'll be back eventually and you'll be reunited with your lovely makeup. I keep looking this way because I'm looking at a palette that I'm thinking about bringing, but I'm not sure if I should. Anyway, so hopefully all those tips were helpful. I know it was a lot, but I just have a lot to say when it comes to that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Check below for a link to my other travel videos that I've done if you are interested, and I will catch you guys very soon. Bye. Nice bag. They have bigger versions of this now at Target. They have different colors, different patterns, but the idea behind these bags is that there are a ton of compartments. What I love is that there's the big one, and inside there's another zipper in there, and then there's like these little side pockets there. Then in the front there's a small zipper, and in there, oh no, there's not another thing in there. But then between this zipper and this zipper there's another compartment. On the back there are 2 separate compartments right there. On the side you